an honor to be here. I'm JoAnne Anderson. I work with Albertsons companies. I'm on the brand marketing team, and I'm the director of content strategy and content marketing. So what that looks like is I have kind of 3 pillars under my team. We manage our brand-led campaigns, and those include our holiday seasonal events, as well as really kind of anything that's more brand forward. And then we have our video and photography team that I manage, and that includes a lot of outside studios and agency partners, and really developing all of the assets that you see across our company. And then the 3rd pillar is our organic social team. I manage our organic social team and the content that we produce there. And I've been with the company for 6.5 years. Oh. Nicole?
I'm Nicole Kent. Thank you so much for having me here today. It's a pleasure. I'm the Director of Creative Operations for Albertsons Media Collective. I started my career over 10 years ago with Albertsons companies, building social, digital, and in-store creatives for some of our large marketing programs. When we were starting up a retail media network, they needed someone to lead the creative team, build the operations, build the studio, and so I jumped at the opportunity. And it's been a great process. So I have 3 different pillars as well. We have a pillar of creative specialists. We have an innovation pillar, and then also an offshore studio that we utilize as well.
So we have a combined 16 years of experience kind of at Albertsons companies between you guys. So let's talk about how this collaboration really starts coming to life, right? So who comes up with the idea for campaigns?
Yeah, great question. So first it starts with the customer, right? We're looking at consumer insights for what's relevant to our customers. We marry that up with our business priorities and our annual plans, and put that in the blender of our marketing plans, and that really helps us identify those key holiday moments and those key customer moments where our product priorities and our retailer priorities kind of intersect. And from there, we develop our key major campaigns and the key themes that we want to go to market with. And as part of that, then we work with the collective, which I'll let Nicole speak to.
Yeah, so annual planning is really the catalyst for how this partnership comes together. A couple of the big campaigns that come out of it, one would be seasonal. So think of those key moments when we are gathered together around food, 4th of July, back to school, Thanksgiving. A second would be our large loyalty sales event. So when we want to drive cases on the shelf, larger basket sizes, all around a loyalty offer. We also have a lot of some, I would call smaller campaigns, but those are probably examples of the biggest ones that we partner with.
So the brand marketing team is kind of figuring out the business objectives, and then is the collective kind of selling this idea into your CPG partners?
Well, I can elaborate a little bit more. We, from the brand marketing side, also partner with our lead brand agencies and our merchandising teams to develop the big brand campaign and the big theme, so the big idea, which is what you're kind of driving for. And then from that, then we set the stage of like, okay, what are we going to stand for this year? What's the big campaign? And then we develop a myriad of different campaigns. Like right now, we have a major loyalty relaunch campaign that's live. We're about to launch a fresh campaign. Those are the things that we are marketing from the brand side. And then going into holiday, for instance, we are partnering with the collective to see where we can bring CPG partners into those spaces that are most relevant to our customers, and create that more cohesive experience, and that CPGs can add value to the stories that we're already telling.
Got it. So there's kind of like one big theme, and then there's kind of sub-stories underneath. Yes. And so you guys have a ton of different CPG partners, right? I mean, you sell everything within the Albertsons companies. How are you adapting the themes for each CPG partner?
So we have our great team of client success managers that really own the relationship with the CPGs in partnership with our merchandising team. So they can tell individual CPG stories, but then when it comes to these brand programs, they're also selling them in partnership with the merchandise team. So wanting to make sure that we are telling a compelling story to our first-party audiences, making sure that the CPG is the right fit, and then the merchandise team is, of course, there to get product on the shelf at the right price point that will drive the purchase and then ultimately benefit the customer.
What happens if you have a partner that wants to participate in these themes, these moments, but it doesn't really kind of fit in with the direction of the brand marketing? Has that ever come up?
Yeah, so it's a great question. We always keep the goal in mind. The goal is customer first. We want to make sure that we're telling a compelling story for our customers, and that's kind of the gauge we use when something like this comes up. We just had an example of it a little bit ago with a seasonal program. Our sales team was so excited. They sold a CPG in. It was the first time that they'd ever partnered with us. IO was signed. Great, right? And then when it came to my team to execute, we looked at the priority products. We looked at the categories that we had previously aligned to, and we were like, we're making it.
Ain't mathin'.
Yeah, we're having to force it. And so we went back to the sales team, the lead, and said, hey, here's what's going on. We want to make sure we still create a good experience for the CPG, so we came up with a recommendation of what else they could do. Fortunately, they were open to the feedback, and it was ultimately a better decision for the CPG and then for our seasonal program. So keeping that customer first mindset is always kind of the best approach for us.
And I think we have some examples to kind of share of how some of that's coming to life here, right?
Yeah, sure. I can speak to some of that if I, okay. So a couple years ago, a couple years ago, through our CEO's leadership, we as a company rallied around our common purpose, which is to bring people together around the joys of food and to inspire well-being. And so with that, for the first time in our company's history, I don't know if how many of you know, but Albertsons Companies is a decentralized organization, and we have 21 retail banners, 11 divisions. So it is a monumental task to bring our company together to rally around a common purpose. That alone was huge. And so with that, we, the brand team, were able to then develop the creative expression of that purpose and develop our brand guidelines and develop our brand platform. And so that's the elements that you see here is just a snapshot of the visual identity, the graphical elements, the core pillars that make our brand. And we are in the second year of really bringing that to life. And so then as we develop those assets, we have partnership with our partners like Campbell's, where we developed this holiday Viz ID and this look and feel, and then they came to the table, and I'll let Nicole speak to details on that.
Yeah, so JoAnne's team came up with the holiday program using those original Sincerely brand visual ID, and the Campbell's team came to the collective, and they're like, we want to partner with you in a big way for holiday. What can we do? And we came up with the idea of incorporating this holiday visual identity into their program, really taking advantage of that halo effect that JoAnne's team was creating with all of the marketing materials they were already doing in store and on their channels. And so in partnership with Campbell's, JoAnne's team, my team, we came up with what you see here in the creative. So making sure that the Sincerely brand ID was coming to life and staying true in its integrity. Campbell's was making sure that their messaging, their priority products were coming to life. And then my team was making sure that we were doing channel best practices to get the best results. And it was really a proof of concept, I think, the first of its kind for the brand team and the collective coming together. And the results speak for itself. It blew all of our media benchmarks out of the water and was just a big success for Campbell's and for all of our teams.
Yeah, gosh, I mean, I think we all kind of wrestle with the cat herding part of our job, right? Like one campaign for the brand, it already requires 15 different people to get approvals and CorpCom, and you know, you got to get operations and the field involved, right? And when you introduce the retail media side of it, you have CPG partners, and you have the brand, and you have merchandising, and you have your business objectives, right? How are you guys ensuring all these stakeholders' objectives are met and accomplished? Like that's some like serious cat herding.
Yeah, it really starts with communication and collaboration, which is, you know, obviously a buzzword, but we're sincere when we say that. Sincerely, don't mind the pun.
We did not plan that.
But, you know, Nicole and I speak regularly, and we've established regular calls. We have team meetings with our merchandising teams, both the in-store and the digital merch teams. She and I are constantly talking to figure out how we can work together efficiently and how we can establish guardrails and templates to then empower and unlock the efficiency that her team can then deploy. And I'll let her elaborate a little bit more on those details.
Yeah, so open communication is not a new term for us, but the reason we continue to hear it is because it's so important. When JoAnne and I first approached this partnership in this way, we kind of came to the table and we're like, here are my goals. We both stated this. We both stated, here's my strategy and my approach to these initiatives. And laying that foundation and that groundwork was so important because we could then use that in how we worked with each other. JoAnne and I have had the opportunity to work in our previous roles together, and so we're nothing if not blunt and straightforward in our approaches, which actually benefits us because we're able to test, we're able to say, like, did that work? Like, is this what you want? Yes. Is this what I want? Yes. And being able to be direct and open and in a professional manner is just how we're able to do this so well.
And I think there's a mutual respect too. We both and the teams. I think the teams respect the fact that there's an added value that's coming together to help amplify our efforts. We see the value that a CPG can bring to us to stretch our marketing dollars in today's economy with our marketing dollars so limited, and we're competing with mind share. A CPG can come to the table and really help amplify our efforts, and that's true value for us.
Yeah, and that's sometimes lost, right? I mean, you may be on two different teams internally, but we kind of forget, like, we all have the same business goal. Like, we're all trying to move the business forward here. Yeah. So we have, the collective side, the retail media side, and then we have the brand marketing side. We're missing a key part in here about the merchandising, right? So where does merchandising for Albertsons fit into these campaigns? Where does, who controls the product placement, for example?
Yeah, so it starts with our in-store and our digital merch teams. And so through our annual planning process, our marketing team really works closely with them to identify what those key hero items are for those key customer moments. And they set the direction. And then from there...
I think that was your cue.
That was the mic toss over to me. Yeah, from there, the collective is there to sell in those CPGs. So if we're talking about a fresh campaign, it's really driven by the merchandise team, but we're there to support. So we complete the basket, we complete the shopping experience, and that's where our sales team comes in with that as well.
Got it. So you guys, you talked a lot about, like, communication is critical, right? And sometimes we have to have the tough conversations. Do you have, and there's also an element of like brand consistency, right? Across all of these campaigns, all of your touch points, the Albertsons company's brand, as well as the CPG brands. Do you have tips on things that could help maintain that brand consistency across these campaigns that you're planning?
Yeah, it's a great question. And we have, I think, a visual aid, if I can get a... Yes. Ooh. Okay, great.
Just I'll softball this up for you all day.
For us. Awesome. So we've, as part of the work that we're doing in year 2 of our brand guides in the launch of this brand platform is really developing those style guides and to empower. We have 230,000 people at our company, so we can't be managed, in the weeds, jamming up how people express our brand. So our big unlock is to be able to provide templates, tools, resources for the organization to utilize and embody and reflect our brand. And so as part of that, we've developed these templates for our CPG partners to use our assets. And this is an example of the unified graphical elements. We call them glyphs, but these little arrows and these other graphical elements that you saw on the previous page, those are the things that allow our CPG partners to utilize these assets, their paid display ads, and fit in with the branding that we want. And that creates that consistent customer experience regardless of where they're experiencing us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we have 3 different ways that we can accept creative as a retail media network. Number 1, the CPG can build it for themselves. So they have a creative team. They are using their brand, their style guides in all of that. Number 2, my team can do it for them. So we take what they give us. They take brand guidelines. We'll take an existing campaign and build out all of the channel assets for that program. And then number 3 is what we call our co-brand opportunity. So that's where the partnership with JoAnne JoAnne really shines. And we make sure that we're utilizing these templates, we're utilizing the visual ID that she's creating for the various moments throughout the year to make sure that we're in line with the Albertsons company's brand guidelines. I'll also add that in the first two options, my team of creative specialists is there to make sure that the content that's being created is in line and within our guidelines for Albertsons companies, so that the CPG is not trying to be too tongue-in-cheek or say something that we're like, that doesn't represent Albertsons and our banner of stores. So they're there to do that quality assurance check. I'll add that the templates are here as an option. So when we have a Campbell's that comes to the table again and they're like, we want to partner with you in a big way, we have these in our back pocket to be able to utilize in a really turnkey manner, to be able to turn programs on as quickly as possible in partnership with JoAnne's team, so we're not bogging her team down with all of the campaigns that we manage.
I'm sure no one in this room has ever dealt with a supplier or vendor who's gone rogue, right? Like they just adhere so well to all of our brand guidelines. Okay, so I love the kind of collaboration and how things are coming to life, how you guys have standardized some templates, but also provided creative flexibility for their CPG brands. I'm going to pivot to organizational alignment, and I hope nobody's eyes glaze over because I know we love just talking about how things are structured, but I think it's critical, right? Because without that right internal structure, this can really quickly fall apart. So what does this look like organizationally for y'all?
Yeah, so as I said, we have a pillar of my team is a creative specialist. They're the ones that are working day to day with our CPG clients and all of the campaigns that they are running. We have about 150 campaigns in the queue at any given time. Wow. So there's a high volume. We need to automate, we need to streamline, we need to be as efficient as possible. We are constantly being asked to get to market quicker. Things are being delivered late, but they still want to launch on time. So how can we move things through our pipeline as quickly as possible? And so that we don't have to go back to JoAnne every single time and be like, does this align with Sincerely? Are you okay with this? That's why we have these templates, so that we can be as turnkey as absolutely possible.
And building on that, we have starting to establish partnerships with similar vendors and similar, myself and the creative director really work most closely with her team, and we are establishing the templates, but then also processes and ways of reviewing where we might be more involved in the campaign. And we established those guardrails at the beginning of this process, and then we kind of let them loose after that. And there's check-ins as needed, but that's typically how we kind of currently are working together. And the other kind of future state is kind of figuring out how we can have these shared resources to help her pipeline as well as our pipeline with the shared expertise with those vendors, like thinking of like studios and things like that.
So do you guys think of the collective as a totally separate business from Albertsons companies, or as kind of an extension to the brand marketing teams?
If you had asked me that 2 years ago, I would have said totally different company. Well, not totally different company. We're obviously part of the same company, but we have a value in our company is we act as one team, and that is alive and well today in a way more than ever before. And what today we see the collective as an extension to amplify our marketing campaigns, and so we are one team.
Yeah.
I would add that 6 months ago, even we were like, oh, because before it was like, you do you, I'm gonna do my thing over here. And we quickly learned that silos never work, they're never successful. We can't work on the same campaign but not talk to each other about it. And so the amount of times we now talk compared to a year ago is pretty impressive. So the key to success is collaboration within your company.
Yeah. Nicole, I think you mentioned you have 150 campaigns in process right now. We've talked a little bit about AI and how we can leverage technology just to make our lives easier, right? Have you explored using artificial intelligence to help kind of the creative process run more efficiently?
Yeah, so Albertsons Media Collective recently announced our partnership with Capgemini. So they are an extension of our creative media and ad operations team, and we are exploring AI opportunities with them to automate and streamline media planning and then creative operations as well.
Okay, so let's go into the media side now, right? So on your owned channels, what are some of the ways that you're balancing the paid placements from the collective versus like owned placements from the brand itself?
So the biggest opportunity with our owned channels is obviously our website. We have specific ad placements that are dedicated for the collective, and then the brand team has the same thing. They have dedicated placements for them. So it's not really a competition at all. Like, we know we have our swim lane within the site and where we can play, and the same thing for JoAnne's team as well.
Yeah, and we work very closely with the digital merch team to establish the hierarchy and the storytelling that we want to have on our shop experience and our site experience. That is a constant collaboration, probably every day at least, that we are working with them, because that's the shop. That's the customer experience.
What about in-store? Have you explored those opportunities yet?
Same. The challenge with in-store is that we are a decentralized organization, so the way that comes to life in-store physically is also managed by our local divisions, so we have a little bit less control over how that gets expressed. However, our national merchandising team negotiates national merchandise programs, of which we have our national campaigns and national marketing campaigns that go live in stores. And then they partner with the collective, which I'll let her.
So as JoAnne said, we're decentralized. The divisions can kind of pick and choose the things that they want to see in their store. However, we do have partnerships with some vendors that allow the collective to activate and kind of control what is in our stores. So in our 2024 roadmap, you'll see things like in-aisle blade signs. We're currently doing that, but exploring how we can expand that even more. In-store audio, and then in-store digital monitors. So those are all some of the things and the products that you'll see coming out of 2024. And then even beyond that, like, how do we expand it even more, knowing what we can and can't control within inside of our stores.
Are your CPGs asking for in-store placements, or is this something that you guys are kind of seeing as big opportunities?
There's some things that are already happening, so how do we get involved in that? So yes, there is interest in it. There's something that they're asking for, and then even how do we get in store with some of the things that JoAnne is doing? And again, the divisions come into that, but that's something that we're working on.
So two of the biggest discussion points within the retail media industry as a whole, it's focused around standardization, right, across the retail media sides, and measurement. What areas of retail media do you think need to be standardized?
I think on-site has a big opportunity there, so that's something that we're definitely exploring and see as a huge priority for the collective and how we can standardize our ad placements a bit more. For measurement, I can answer that one as well. We have your standard measurement reporting capabilities, impressions, ROAS, engagement rate, and conversion rate. The other thing we do is for some of the larger programs, they'll get a full wrap report with insights and recommendations from all of our cross-functional subject matter experts. So then the CPG has a tangible thing that they can then take into their future programs of how they want to do different and what else they can do in the future.
Is these same formats and reporting same for your CPGs versus your private label, or are there differentiation points between the two?
Yeah, so private label currently operates in its own separate area. I think that's an opportunity to unlock moving forward, but the private label is separate than the collective right now.
Got it. Okay, so I have one more question, and then we'll open it up to the crew. What do y'all think is the biggest opportunity that still needs to be addressed between brand marketing and retail media?
I think having an even more integrated campaign for us, like I said at the beginning, if we can amplify our marketing campaigns with partnership from a CPG in a way that's really authentic, that adds value to the customer's journey and to the information the customer wants, partnering on recipes, partnering on creator, influencers and content creators to add value to and simplify the friction for our customer and help inspire them. The world's our oyster. I mean, we can really, there's a lot of really interesting and exciting things that we could do there. And I'm pretty excited for what that could be. Yeah.
I'm going to add, I just said it, but private label is probably the biggest area and opportunity that we have. It's a big unlock for us. And to be able to bring private label with the collective and the brand team, I think will be really exciting.
Yeah. Open it up for some questions.
Oh my God, scared me.
I have two. So you talked, Justine from PetSmart. I have two questions. So you talked about on-site opportunities a lot. Is that bought programmatically today, or is that a automated or a non-automated process? Can you ask the question again? Are your placements on-site bought programmatically today for Collective?
Yes,
okay.
They are.
Okay, great.
Yep.
And then for your reporting for your retail media network, do you share direct vendor sales attributed to media?
We do directly to the vendor, yeah.
Okay, great. Even small vendors as well?
Yes, even small vendors have the information available to them.
Oh, okay, great.
Yep.
Thank you.
Good questions.
Yeah.
Hold on, I knew they'd start pouring in here. Just getting
always
warmed
takes
up.
one
Thank
to
you,
warm up the
PetSmart.
crowd.
Jared Scott from Spark Foundry. So one question I have, and we hear a lot from many of our clients, is how can I drive incremental sales? And so I'm curious on your point of view on retail media. How are you addressing that specifically for Albertsons, and how different brands can drive incremental sales through retail media?
I think the individual CPG brand campaigns are a really good way to be able to do that. Incremental return on ad spend is a capability that we do have so that they can see directly what that individual campaign is doing. I think anything that they have going on in store to be able to supplement it with media is the best way to be able to do that. And then you have the measurement piece to be able to see exactly the results of it.
Hi, I'm Kim from Lift Media. I was just curious, do you give these CPGs the power to utilize any of this creative outside of Albertsons Collective?
If they develop the creative, then it will typically, may see it on other channels or retail media networks because they're driving it. Things that we build internally in partnership with JoAnne's team is really just for Albertsons because it has that brand identity. We want to make sure that it's kind of staying within the walls of our stores.
One more here.
Hi, Ruben Katz from Envision. How do you sync up what the CPGs are doing from a display standpoint in-store with when those ads will appear on the retail media network?
So the launches will align quite frequently. So if they're having a display in store, let's say it launches on X date, the media will align with that as well and live for the duration of their shipper or whatever that happens to be. But yeah, the media and the in-store piece, it's really important to make sure those things align. That's why I say when creative is delivered late, we still have to hit launch because there's in-store elements that are aligned with it.
That is all the time that we have today, but you will be able to catch up with both JoAnne and Nicole at a roundtable this afternoon at noon for a deeper dive into the conversation about brand marketing and retail media networks. Y'all, thank you so much. This was so fun.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.